What does this mean for information professionals? First of all, information literacy has really never been more important. And it's not just information literacy. We've got to move into data literacy, media literacy, other types of literacy, because that's where the information is coming from. It's coming as data, it's coming in all varieties of media. We have to get a handle on where algorithms, machine learning, artificial intelligence, how these technologies influence search results, influence what we're thinking about. Always have to ask this question about, why am I even seeing this? Why is this here? And not just automatically say, well, gosh, it's on the internet, it must be true. You're going to run into a collision of belief systems, because when we're saying what is valid, what is credible, many times what we run up against is the fact that someone's belief overrules what might, in our minds, be factual. What do we need to relearn? Domain names. We had some of the examples here of a .org. .orgs no longer necessarily mean they are valid organizations. The .edu, valid up to a point. It biases your results to US educational institutions, because in other countries, the domain name is different for educational institutions. And I think we have to recognize really that, when people talk about bias, we tend to translate that into it's bias about race or about gender or about politics. But in fact, it's everywhere we look, and you can be biased about a company, you can be biased about an industry. And that is just as important to recognize in terms of information literacy as the more normal ways we kind of think about bias. So what does that mean for us? Who are we supposed to be? Are we supposed to be fact checkers? Or are we supposed to be the police saying, you can see this, but you can't see that? Are we supposed to be peer reviewers? That's kind of more than probably most of us signed up for. Finding information that has been unpublished is a very interesting aspect of, I think, of what we do. And I think trying to find things that have been unpublished is in fact something that we ought to be looking at. Who are the arbiters of truth? Is that us? I don't know. Maybe in your instance it is, maybe it's not, but it does raise the question of whose truth are we talking about? Are trends the same thing as facts? And what about disappearing data? We've become very aware of this in terms of scientific information that is perhaps no longer available. So, getting rid of bias, one search at a time? Sure, we have to think about bias in our sources. And did we bias our results based on how we constructed the search? So what is our duty? Is it in fact our duty to provide unbiased search results? Or is it because the person who's asking us this question wants us to prove a point? Are we giving people what they want, even if it's biased? Are we there to speak truth to power? Maybe. Are there two sides to every question? Well, there are multiple sides to most questions. And so I think what we need to be doing is recognize that every search we do is a little bit different, but being aware of the bias that might come into this is pretty important. maybe we can't always be unbiased, but we should at least try for impartiality.